Blog Talk Radio.
You are listening to Shriekfest Radio.
Good evening and welcome to Shriekfest Radio. This is Denise, Gossett, the festival founder and director, and your hostess for the night. Shriekfest is a horror, thriller, sci-fi, fantasy film festival, screenplay competition. We also have a music video category. We are heading into our 19th year in Los Angeles, and that will be October 3rd through the 6th, so mark your calendars. And then our third year in Orlando, which will be November 2nd. So, yes, when you submit your film to the festival, there is a potential chance you will play two cities, which I think is pretty cool. So, let's see, Shriekfest Radio has been on the air almost 6 years now. This will be our 190th show tonight. And Shriekfest Presents, our next Shriekfest Presents will be Alien at midnight at the New Art in Los Angeles, January 11th. So mark your calendars. We're going to have some special guests, and it's going to be a good time. So tonight's call-in number, if you have a question for myself or my guest, is 657-383-0171, 657-383-0171. And let's see, I don't think I have any other announcement other than, call for entries is open. Yes, we opened a little early this year. I kept getting a lot of emails requesting it, so I just went ahead and opened it. So you can find out more information on our website, shriekfest.com. And we're already getting all kinds of submissions, and they're really good already, so I'm super excited. And I'm thrilled about my guest tonight, David Allensworth. He is the co-director of the 2018 official selection feature film Sold to Keep. So let me welcome David to Shriekfest Radio. How are you, David?
Hey, Denise, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to hear your voice.
Absolutely. You are awesome for having me on your show tonight.
Oh, well, thank you. We're going to chat because we haven't really chatted since Shriekfest. So
yeah.
I want to know, how did you get into this industry? What made you want to direct and produce and write? You've kind of done a little bit of everything. What made you want to do this?
I grew up in L.A. I'm in New York now, but probably because I'm a product of L.A., it was all around me. It's hard to, if you were working at a restaurant, you're still going to be, you got a script under your arm. So
right.
It's kind of in the blood. But I definitely, when I was in college, I thought I'd play it safe and try some regular major, speech communication just to play it safe. And I just didn't feel right about that. And, it was available to me to get into film, and they asked, well, you need an emphasis. And I went after writing. You could do directing, you could do producing, and writing was my first love. And that's where I learned that. And, and I went to UCLA for the professional screenwriting program there. And it just really became part of me. And, you discover that you are a storyteller. Either you're you're an accountant, or you're a lawyer, or you're an organizer, or you're somebody who's charitable, or social worker. You know who you are, and then something in me, I discovered that I like to tell stories, and it's manifesting in film. So that's where I ended up.
That's awesome. Now, was Sold to Keep your first feature film?
Yes. Sold to Keep was my first feature film, yes. And my co-director had done a couple of indie art house thrillers, and in fact, that's why I had approached him to, kind of get the ball rolling. I'd done some short films, I'd won some awards. I thought, I'm going to really do this. I'm a writer. And we kind of worked together to get this thing going, and then it became a real great experience and a passion project of mine. to do this, and I'll do it again in a heartbeat.
Wow. Now, how was that working with someone else directing? Was that difficult? Did you guys argue, or were you pretty much on the same page?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we were on the same page. Our vision was the same. Of course, we argued to try to, make sure that, you want that counterpoint, right? You want to have, somebody say, no, this is, you're missing this, you're missing that, or this is not telling the story, this is not moving the story forward. And so, yeah, arguments occurred on set. But in the end, it was a great collaboration. It was an opportunity of a lifetime to, go out there with a real great crew. I can't say enough about them. And we were lucky. I'll say that.
Nice. And, okay, so you were involved with the writing as well. What made you want to do a movie about possession, and then what made you want to bring in the deaf aspect of the lead character?
Both great questions. Well, the original script was written by Eric Bram as a comedy horror with a very different title, although, it was called I Eat Your Soul. And which was a lot of fun. It was really more about, same group of kids who end up at a place and they discover a ritual room, Evil Dead style. And in the comedy script, it was, laugh crazy one-liners, arms falling off, or being chopped off and blood everywhere, that kind of film.
Right.
And, so the demon possession idea was already in that film, and I was drawn to it, but there were some secrets in the film, in the script, that I just loved, and I really felt like this had something, but I didn't want to make a comedy horror because I just kind of felt like that wasn't me. I'm a thriller guy. I am a comedy guy too, but there's this like desire to like really give people a good thrill, and so I asked Eric to collaborate with me on coming up with a script that was much more horror-driven, and as you know, that's what we ended up with. Very, take it seriously. Put some kids, 20-something, at a place where they are just having fun. When the shit hits the fan, like, well, what do you do? And I wanted to convey that. What happens when really bad things start to happen between you and your friends? What decisions do you make? Do you run as fast as you can, or do you try to save those who are being possessed and risk yourself, or do you have to kill somebody? Those are really great questions that I wanted the audience to, feel. And as far as the deaf angle, clearly when you have an ensemble cast, you got to be careful. Typecastings or stereotypes, which we have as well. You want those tropes where people are comfortable with the group and expectations. Right. But I felt like, you can't just live there. You've got to live beyond. And I had thought about a few things. And around me, speaking of Eric Brown, his wife is fully deaf in one ear and half deaf in the other ear. So she was an inspiration. One of my producers, Matt Meyer, has tremendous hearing loss as well. And that kind of was around me. And I felt like, well, why not? Why not have a character among them that is deaf? And not just like hearing loss, but like really can't hear. And admittedly, I kind of felt like this was a scare tactic at first. Something that I said, you know what, it's not like I'm not reinventing the wheel here on that, but it's a really great tool where you can't hear what's coming, right? And so that's an opportunity as a director to create. And I had some visions of how that would work. There's a few scenes in the film that actually came out of that early vision before the script was even written, and they actually made it into the film, which I'm really proud of. But as logistically, you start to realize, well, wait a minute, to be true, to be authentic, you can't just have somebody deaf and just be hanging out. These friends have to communicate with her. So they're going to need to know sign language too, because that's the way it would have been if they were friends for a long time. This character is the girlfriend of one of the main characters as well, and they're all friends. And so then it became something else. It became something bigger. That was more of a statement of inclusion and realizing that, this world, whether we're in a horror film or we're just in society, we can have this. But give it a try. Be inclusive. Have friends who are deaf. Great. Let's learn ASL. I didn't get to learn it fully, but on set, it really came pretty quick, and I've already got my children working on some ASL. So it's
wow.
a very interesting. Yeah. So it's very interesting that it ended up to be something like this, and then just put it into a horror context, and it becomes something refreshing, right? Something
sure.
a little more, taking you out of that, typical. And then one more thing about it too is that we didn't want to make the movie about someone being deaf. We didn't want. We wanted to show that these are just characters who care about each other. One of which doesn't care about the rest, but they generally care about each other. And you could insert anybody in there, and one happens to be deaf. And we play with it a little bit, but this movie isn't about that deaf person. It's about all of them surviving and figuring out how to get through this. And, of course, she turns out to be one of the lead characters, and she's very smart as a character. So, I felt like that was also another statement.
No, well, it's wonderfully done, and she did a great job. And I have to tell you that Q&A we had at Shriekfest is one of my all-time favorites. It really was moving and touching and wonderful to watch her passionately sign up there was really incredible.
It was. It wasn't. That for sure moved me tremendously. She was so earnest about what we were doing, and there were several deaf community members in that audience. I think about a couple dozen, and all raising their hands, standing up, and being thankful for the experience. And even out of the theater, I get caught up in it. They would line up, and we kept our interpreters late into the night because they would talk to us about what this means to them, because the deaf community is poorly represented in I guess quote mainstream media, and there's this ostracized kind of attitude, and we've kind of flipped that. We've kind of opened the door. There's been plenty of movies that have a deaf character, ones that have won Best Picture, Shape of Water, A Quiet Place was fantastic. And there's Hush, which did not have a deaf actress, but at least it was, something in the right direction. And they just shook my hand and were so thankful and felt like this was something that they needed so desperately. And I kid you not, I left the event that night, got into my car, and my eyes just welled up, and it I couldn't believe it. And then it was almost like, wow, now this is one of the reasons why we made this film. It's like we have an effect on people. The horror aspect was completely aside from that, but just knowing that people want to be entertained and want to be accepted, and are screaming out, and no, I guess pun intended, no one's hearing them. So So anyway, that's something that came out of that. Yeah, that Q&A at Shriekfest is something I'll never forget.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And I had several people email me and say the same thing, and these were full hearing people that were saying how touching and wonderful it was. So you did a really good thing, David. You really did.
Thanks to you for helping us and setting that up for us. Oh my gosh. That was amazing.
It was a lot of fun. Now, are you still doing the festival circuit with the film? What's going on with the film?
Yeah, we're slowly doing it. We do have a screening coming up in Austin at the Other Worlds Austin Film Festival, which is turning out to be something really big. They're using the Flicks Brew House, which is a huge theater that all the big studio films go through there, and we're doing that December 8th and 9th in Austin, or I think it's in Round Rock, but it's considered Austin, and we're excited. In fact, we're having 2 screenings, and the second screening is going to be an open caption screening, just like we did in Shriekfest.
Excellent.
So we're proud to do that as well. And in fact, Sandra, who played Tara, who's deaf, is actually from Austin, so she'll be there too.
Oh, that's going to be beautiful. Let me know how that goes. How exciting!
Thanks.
Now
we're not entirely lined up yet for the festivals. We're working with our distributor on that.
That's great. Well, hopefully more people can get to see it because it's a fun one, and I think people will really enjoy it. Now, you recently had a birthday. I hope it was good. Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you. It was good. Thank you very much.
Good.
I'm now old, yes, thanks.
No, you're not old. You're not old. You're getting better, right? Older and wiser and better.
Yes. I'm like a fine wine. Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
Right. Now, what is sulfur?
Sulfur. Oh, that's a script. Yeah, that one's a really great concept. It's a feature script. It's a kind of a supernatural crime thriller. And it's got horror elements in it. Basically, there's a cop who discovers that he has the ability to sense evil. And he senses it through, and he doesn't know what's happening at first, but when he ends up at a place, a room, a coffee shop, a deli, a bodega, whatever, he'll start to see the remnants of something that had occurred there but the vision that he receives is all made in fire, like fires from hell.
Oh, right.
So so when he sees an act like replayed in front of him, these like the characters, somebody holds up their arm to shoot a gun, and he sees that happen, and that's everything's on fire, and so he sees all this, and he starts to piece it together, and in that story, he discovers that there's a witness to a crime at a bodega in New York, in Little Odessa, which is like the Russian mafia area, and from that, he discovers that he has to protect this witness who this crime was a lot bigger than just a killing at a bodega. It has a lot to do with the Russian mob. So, and then you discover in this film that there's crooked cops also behind this. So they are on their own, and his powers get more and more advanced as the film progresses. It's kind of an origin story, like M. Night Shyamalan, what he does with his films. Yeah.
Cool.
Unbreakable.
Is it completely written? Is it written already?
Yeah, that one's already written. Yeah, that's something.
Now, is that
going to
be your next project?
Actually, no. I have a couple projects that are outside of the horror genre that are kind of on the hot plate right now. We've got producers involved, and we're raising funds, and we're doing all that fun stuff. And one's in the kind of faith light area. I like to dabble in the, even Soul to Keep has kind of a religious element to it, believe it or not, with the demons. And this is just, Soul to Keep is the beginning of something much bigger that will bring about other demons. There's not just Beelzebub. There's going to be stories about Leviathan and Lucifer and Mammon and like all these, the princes of hell. And as they approach Earth and how they get here, it's really intense. And and then there's a counterpoint from the God side with the angels trying to, it's Armageddon. So it's something I'm very excited about getting going and see if we can build that as a series. But yes, I have a faithful, and I actually have a fantastic rated R comedy that my writing partner and I, not Eric Brown. Eric is a great writer as well, but we wrote Sold to Keep together. But my my ongoing writing partner is David Wagner, who's written a couple of fantastic comedies, Van Wilder, The Girl Next Door, and or co-written those. And so we are working on a really great rated R comedy that's about going back to doing prom, doing it over again. So it's but they're like 30 years old or 35 years old.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's totally.
That sounds like it might
crazy.
be pretty funny.
Yeah. So we're working on that as well. We've got a producer on board.
So you're pretty busy.
I am. Yeah.
Now, what was your support system like growing up? Did your family support the writing, directing, everything you wanted to get into, and what did they think when you told them you were doing horror?
Support, for sure.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was an actor or attempting to be an actor, and my mom put me in auditions, and she's getting me into anything as possible. And I'm just this little kid, I'm an extra in the behind, in TV shows,
right.
and she supported that, and she kept it going. I don't know if my dad cared so much about it, but it's something that she thought was a good, fun thing to do. She understood the entertainment industry, but nobody in my family is from the entertainment industry. My sister's an editor, so that's one thing. But it's I did receive support, and then as I jumped into the horror side, there's that support again. I'm very blessed that I had the support system in place from my family back in LA, and as well as my wife and my children. That's
great. And you have 3 children, right?
I do. I have 3 kids, 3 girls.
And they're of course too young to be watching Sold to Keep.
Yeah, they get scared. They hear the trailer coming out of my home office, and they run for the other side of the house.
How old are they?
I have an almost 11-year-old and a 9 and an 8-year-old. Right now, it's 8, 9, 10. So we're getting there.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I have a 10-year-old, and she is just not into anything. She doesn't even like the Shriekfest poster.
Oh, well, you know what? It'll grow on her. Just give her time.
Right.
They certainly don't.
We will see.
The Sold to Keep poster definitely freaks them out with that.
I'm
face
sure.
Of Grace and the white eyes.
Right, exactly. Creepy, Daddy, creepy. Where can people find you? Are you on Twitter, Facebook? Where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got I'm not as active as I should be, but on Twitter I'm DJ Allensworth.
Yes, David, you have homework. You need to be more active on there.
I know, and I see how wonderfully active you are. I'm like, I need to take that as a hint of what I should be doing. So, but you also can find me, at least for the film, we can, on Instagram and Facebook and on Twitter, we're Sold to Keep Movie. And so that's, one way to get hold. And I also we have my production company, Shady Tree Films. You can always contact me through there, and soldtokeepmovie.com. We've got ways to contact there. You can get on our email list to keep tabs on the film. There's a lot of great ways to get a hold of us and hold of me.
Perfect. And what would be some advice to someone out there who wanted to get into directing or writing?
Great question. I guess a couple of things. One is persistence. You have to be persistent. You have to keep at it. And people are going to say no, especially when it comes to money. And you've got to find a way. But through your persistence, the number one thing you need, actually there's 3 altogether. So persistence, passion is right up there with that, because if you're persistent about something you're just okay about, no one's going to listen. You got to be passionate about what you do. And people get excited about that.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is vision. Know what you're talking about. Be excited about yourself, about what you're doing. And as a director or as a writer, you got to know your story, and you got to put yourself in the audience's shoes. Would I want to see this film? Would I want to, enjoy? Would I be able to enjoy this experience? And I guess it's the last thing that will influence your choices about what you're going to direct or what you're going to write is impact. I can't say it enough. You've got to have some kind of impact-worthy element in what you do. And whether it's, to change lives by the subject matter or just by sheer entertainment so that somebody can escape, which is especially true in horror, right?
Right.
You want to escape. And, I'm sure those who have been through, school in the entertainment industry as writing or directing, that there's a catharsis that happens when you watch a horror film. You feel like you've, got that horror out, right? It's like it's up on the screen, and you get to avoid the horror that's in your life, possibly. So that's one impact, and the other impact is there a change in your life that you can, or in someone's life that you can make? Get somebody to think about their own lives. Get that in there. Is it a character? Is it about, or is it just something in the story? Bravery or whatever it is, impact someone. And here in Soul to Keep, we've got our deaf experience that does have an impact on our audience, as we just spoke.
Right.
So, impact is that fourth thing. So you've got four things to think about if you're interested in, directing and writing: persistence, passion, vision, and impact.
I love it, David. I love it. Great advice. And I think people, you can be super talented at making films, and that's great, but you're right. If they're not having enough of an impact, people aren't going to leave that theater and talk about it, think about it. I mean, even if the impact's bad, people are leaving talking about it. Right.
That's right. You got to have an impact. I mean, of course, you hope for a positive impact, but I always, there's a quote that I used to quote from. I put it at the top of one of my scripts. It was a baseball thriller, and it was Jackie Robinson is in that story, and he's the first African American Major League Baseball player from the Brooklyn Dodgers, and we put a quote right in the front and the top of that is that a life is not important except on the impact on other lives.
Oh.
You should post that because you're big on quotes. So
yes, I am.
You should look it up. I may have paraphrased it a little bit, but that's basically how I take it. It's not important unless you have an impact.
Yes, that's a great one. I have one you'll like. Be somebody who makes everybody feel like a somebody.
Ah.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's really. Did you put that up recently?
Yeah, probably. I love that one.
Maybe. Yeah, that's great.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really great to get to know you better and hear some sage words of wisdom from you.
I can only hope that it has some kind of impact on someone's life. I hope that someone does something with that. And I should say I appreciate so much being on the show, and appreciate so much that you included us in Shriekfest. What an amazing experience. Anybody listening out there, get your project to Shriekfest. I kid you not. It's something so personal and so independent. It's not influenced by outside forces, which is a huge deal. And there's just so much appreciation. Yeah, right? And there's so much appreciation there. So thank you for having us in the festival, and thank you for having me on the show tonight.
My pleasure. And I look forward to these new ones. Even if they're not horror, I would love to check them out. So keep me in mind. And you are in the Shriekfest family, so I will always, always, always help promote you. So anytime you need something promoted, just shoot it over to @Shriekfest, and I will help tweet everything out and see if we can't get more of those fans following you and get you more involved on Twitter as well.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to say one last note is that I know. I got to get on Twitter. But the last thing is that we do have our deal. We signed a deal with a distributor, and a very good one. And we are gearing up. We're delivering all this daunting amount of deliverables. And,
I'm sure.
But looks like we haven't set the date yet. But look for us sometime in probably February or March. I'm hoping February because that's a great counter programming for Valentine's Day. As you know, a lot of horrors come out then, and so we're hoping sometime in the I guess late winter for a release date, likely on streaming or video on demand or both or all of the above. And so I'll definitely hit you up for that too.
Yeah, please. Okay, wonderful. Thank you again, David, and kiss those babies and tell your wife hello and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, hug your kid for me. Thanks, Denise, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Watch sensational Grand Slam action on Tennis Channel as top stars clash at Roland Garros in Paris. Catch all the excitement.
What a shot! Come on now!
With Tennis Channel's comprehensive coverage as we bring you live matches and nightly encores, plus match previews.
That is awesome!
Don't miss one of the greatest events in all of sports, Roland Garros, the French Open. Daily live coverage on Tennis Channel, May 26th through June 9th.
When it comes to life on the go, there's no better companion than SunPass Pro. The list of states where it works keeps growing, which means it's always a great time to hit the road and get going. You'll be amazed at the freedom it gives you for just $14.95 and enjoy all of the sights along your scenic drive. It will save you an average of 25%. Cheaper tolls and airport parking? Now that's money well spent. Enjoy more drives with SunPass Pro, a great option for life on the go. Visit sunpass.com today.